Hello everyone, and we are back with LSA for the next season, Season 10, and this is the very first round of that season. Australia, once again, back where it all began for myself in league racing. And we have a real doozy for the qualifying session. And as you can see, I'm on the intermediate tyres, but the track looks dry. The reality is it's currently lightly raining in the qualifying session, but the track doesn't seem to be getting any wetter. The track, however, is too damp for the slicks to work properly, so we are sort of forced to go around on overheating intermediates and try and post a good lap in extremely wet conditions. Now this is my very first lap in the session that you're watching, and I'm about to finish it. It was not a very quick lap. I had a lot of time to find, so I decided to push again on the next lap after this one. So I'm doing a push, cool push. Then after that I'll see what I can do. And that second push lap was successful. I managed to find quite a lot of time sitting purple sector 2 and purple sector 3. However, I did lose quite a lot of time in the first sector, so I decided to push on again without doing a cool lap. I had just about enough battery to do so, and I was able to find a little bit more time on this lap. Although I did have a bit of a moment there through the high-speed chicane. And there we go, we are able to get back into the top 3. Now after that lap I went into the pits, and now this is my next couple of flying laps done on a new set of intermediates. And as it turns out, this was my fastest lap of the session, so we will watch it in full. So there we go, a massive improvement as it appears the track is getting faster. Also being on fresher tyres that are not overheating and slightly lower fuel load did help. I continued pushing on the next lap because I found more time in the first 2 corners as well as this chicane here. But going into the high-speed chicane, I'm a little bit too aggressive with my steering here, and as I go over the curve, I lose traction and nearly pitted in the wall. So that's that lap scratched, and the very next flying lap didn't progress much further as I go over track limits and invalidate the lap. And also at this point, intermediates are starting to overheat. But anyway, that's it for me in qualifying. Managed to qualify P4, and the race was fully weight conditions. The game is telling me to start on the weights, however I kind of doubted that, and I wasn't going to be surprised if some of the other faster drivers started on intermediates. And as we started the race, Big T and Mango confirmed my suspicions to be true. So we managed to survive that start and managed to get a good launch and get ahead of Mango out of the first chicane. Now unfortunately, after that, I ended up giving Mango some wing damage because it looks like on the surface that I brake tested Mango. I'll be honest, that is basically what happened, but it was not intentional. I basically missed my braking points. I was struggling to see them because of the gamertags as well as the spray. So I braked a bit earlier because I didn't want to run into the back of Big T and Gems in front. However, that caught out Mango, and it also didn't help the fact that I was hovering in the middle of the track. That gave Mango quite severe front wing damage. So I was feeling a little bit guilty after this. Definitely didn't want to see that happen to Mango. And as you can see there in the back, he's already holding up everyone. Some of them are going off the track as well. So this is another view of the launch side by side through the first two corners. We are able to get a really good exit out of this corner here and pull ahead. And here I jab the brake slightly. Mango gets caught out by it, and that gives him wing damage. Not a whole lot that he could do there. Yeah, it's just very unfortunate. Now, in a way, that did actually help me because it held everyone up and it took out one of the fastest drivers of the race, at least for now. So, right now, this prospect of holding on to third until the end of the race is a lot more likely now than it was in the beginning. Now going on to lap 7, I am starting to lose some ground to Gems in front, and Japes is starting to pressure me now from behind. And into the penultimate corner, I misjudge where my car is on the track and dip 2 tires on the grass, which sends me a bit wide and pits Japes right behind me. But I'm able to close the door at the last second and get a good enough exit to prevent him from being able to attack me into the first turn. And just as you have to sneeze not once but twice, I had to make the same mistake twice as well. Although this time it was a little bit closer to me losing my position than on the first time. So once again, penultimate corner, I dip 2 tires on the grass, except this time instead of a snap of oversteer, I get a wash of understeer, which nearly allows Japes to enter the final corner side by side with me. Thankfully, however, I was just about able to wiggle my car in front of his nose, park it on the apex, and pull away from him on the straight, thus preventing the overtake. And just as we are not allowed to sneeze twice but 3 times, I had to make a third mistake, just to round off the combo. Now at this point, I really should have pitted at the end of this lap, but I decided to stay out for one more lap for one main reason. I did not want to pit and then have a safety car come out and give everyone else a big advantage. I was convinced before this race started that we would absolutely have more than one safety car, and I was really shocked that we hadn't even had a single race stoppage yet at this point. No virtual safety car or safety car. So I stayed out for another lap, but Japes was really pressuring me. He was far too close, and I decided, you know what, I'll have to box this lap. The intermediates are going to be much faster. They had been faster from around lap 4. So I decided to commit into the pits, and Japes followed me in. Now at this point I immediately had to start doing a bit of fuel saving, because the fuel consumption was much higher than I was expecting it to be. I thought it would be low in the weight, but for some reason in this game it looks like your fuel consumption isn't actually affected that much by the rain, and I had also underfueled a bit at the start of the race. But thankfully my pace looked much stronger on the intermediate, so I wasn't really under any pressure from behind, so I could take my time, lift and coast into the corners, even make some more mistakes, but not really be punished for them. Meanwhile, James has come out of the pits not too far in front of me now this time. The gap went from around 6 seconds to just 2 seconds in front of me. So the undercut was very powerful, going from the weights to the intermediates. However, you see, James is now stuck behind Mango. Yes, Mango, the one whose front wing I broke. So he's on 17 lap old intermediates at this stage, so he will be struggling compared to us. So for me, I don't really have to worry too much about losing sight of James. And here I lap David's, which apparently was a much closer pass than I initially thought. And thank you, David, for bringing this to my attention in the Discord afterwards. I didn't realize that you had lost traction there, and it was a bit more of a scary moment than I initially thought it was.
These conditions don't look like they're shifting. We're predicting at least 20 minutes of heavy rainfall.
And by lap 19, Mango's race-old tyres started to show their age, as it looks like he had some sort of a spin in the penultimate corner, which allowed James to go past and served as further confirmation that I'd probably be able to secure P3 as long as I didn't make any more mistakes. I also took this opportunity to continue fuel saving, even though there might have been a virtual safety car or safety car later on in the race. I decided at this point to try and save all the fuel I needed to, so that I could push flat out in the last couple of laps. Now lap 23 and I've somewhat got the fuel situation under control. I'm still having to do some lift and coast because I'm burning more fuel than the game is predicting, but into the Alex Albon chicane, Mango gets a swapper on. It looks like he might have dipped two of his tires in the grass himself. That sent him wide and gave me the position. Now I can put my head down and focus on catching up to Gems, which I was able to do, but I wasn't really able to get much closer than 9/10. So here we are on the final lap. There's some traffic here that we have to manage. There's a slight bit of contact with Skilly there, which didn't give me that much damage, and we're going to look at a different angle of this. So it looks like Skilly had a snap of oversteer, which let Gems through, and he didn't realize I was darting through at the same time. There's only a slight bit of contact there. Lost a front wing end plate, but honestly, I didn't feel any effect from it, except for maybe this turn here. Got a little bit of understeer there. But even in the damage display on the HUD, it wasn't showing that much damage. Now going into this right-hander here, there was a little bit more drama as there was an Alpine halfway across the track which caused James to take avoiding action. I also took avoiding action, but thankfully for me, the car disappeared into the void before I got there. I still made sure to avoid the debris on the ground though. But otherwise that is the end of the race for me. I'm going to round out my first race in Season 10 on the podium. And of course, Big T utterly dominated the whole race. Otherwise, that is it for my race. Here are the results, and next time we're going to head over to Mexico, which seems like it might be a bogey track for me. I'll have to see how that race goes. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.